If you paid $1,800 for a lead, would you let it go to voicemail? You'd think the answer is obvious, right? You'd think no one would ever do that. But I promise you, some of the largest PI firms in the country are doing this every single day. Some of the calls are going to voicemail. They said, well, just call them back. Calling back, that's not a plan. By the time your intake team calls back, that person has likely already called two other firms. One of them likely has answered, and one of them probably signed the case. Marketing drives the lead. Intake signs the client. And if intake fails, marketing burns the money. Welcome to the Intake Playbook, the podcast where we transform your law firm's intake process into a secret weapon. I'm your host, Gary Falkowitz, and I've spent more than a decade helping law firms across the country maximize their intake performance. If you want to stop leaving cases on the table, create a better client experience, and grow your revenue, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. All right, folks, let me ask you something every PI firm should permanently etch on their conference room wall. If you paid $1,800 for a lead, would you let it go to voicemail? You'd think the answer is obvious, right? You'd think no one would ever do that. But I promise you, some of the largest PI firms in the country are doing this every single day. And last week, I spoke with a marketer who genuinely could not wrap his head around it. So here's what happened. I'm talking to a seasoned legal marketer, big budgets, national PI campaigns, thousands of leads flowing through every month. He knows the industry, he knows the numbers, and he knows how hard it is to generate high quality PI leads in 2025 and now heading into 2026. He says, Gary, this firm is paying $1,800 per lead and we're crushing it on our end, but they're complaining that their conversions are too low. Okay, so I asked the only logical question, what happens when a lead comes into their office? And he pauses, not a dramatic pause, a frustrated pause. He says, well, some of the calls are going to voicemail. Guys, we're talking about a large PI firm paying national marketing rates, getting highly qualified injury leads, and they're being sent to voicemail. You should have seen the look on his face. This man looked like someone just told him gravity stopped working. He kept saying, I don't understand it. He pulled up their call data, and sure enough, $1,800 calls being sent straight to voicemail. Now, here's the part that really gets me. The firm wasn't panicked. They weren't shocked. They weren't even mildly annoyed. They said, well, just call them back. Oh, good, perfect. So you'll call back lead that cost you $1,800 after they've already hired the firm who answered the phone. Perfect. Let me do it a different way. If you dropped $1,800 in cash on the sidewalk, would you just say, I'll just go pick that up after lunch? Of course not, right? You'd die for it. You'd sprint. You'd knock over a few chairs on your way out the door. But with PI leads, some firms are treating them like they're spam. Folks, listen, in PI, voicemail equals lost revenue. This industry moves fast. Injury victims are shopping and they want to move fast. They're scared, they're overwhelmed, and they're actively seeking help. And if you let it hit voicemail, you're basically handing your competitor a signed case. Remember, big budgets mean big responsibility. Whether you're spending $20,000 a month or $1 million a month on PI marketing, your intake cannot be run like a part-time afterthought. You need capacity, you need coverage, you need redundancy, and most of all, you need zero tolerance for missed calls. Most marketers are doing their job, but unfortunately, intake is not. This particular marketer wasn't confused about the marketing. He was confused about the behavior. He said, Gary, we're delivering $1,800 opportunities, and yet they're not even set up to answer the phone. Why are they making these deals with us? Well, because here's the dirty secret in PI. Firms will scale their ad spend long before they scale their intake system, right? They're going to wait until things are hurting before they realize, hey, maybe we need more intake staff members. Maybe we need to train them better. And let me remind you, calling back, that's not a plan. By the time your intake team calls back, that person has likely already called two other firms. One of them likely has answered, and one of them probably signed the case. It's not laziness. It's simple math. It's behavioral economics 101. People go with whoever picks up first. And you cannot outspend a broken intake process. I promise you. I've seen it attempted. It doesn't work. You can pour millions into ads. You can dominate every billboard in your city. You can buy every PI related keyword on Google for the next 10 years. None of that matters if your phone rings and your voicemail picks up. Remember, marketing drives the lead. Intake signs the client. And if intake fails, marketing burns the money. So here's my plea to every PI firm listening. Before you increase your budget, before you blame your marketer, before you chase better leads, do me a favor. Just look at your missed calls. Because if you're paying $1,800 per lead and letting any of those calls hit voicemail, your problem isn't marketing. Your problem is priority. Fix that, and your marketing ROI goes through the roof. Hey, if you like this, share this with your intake team, attorneys, or marketing department, because we're not just talking about leads here. We're talking about potential cases. We're talking about revenue. We're talking about changing lives. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Intake Playbook podcast. If this episode sparked a new idea or insight, take a moment to screenshot it and post it in the Intake Playbook group on Facebook. Share what resonated with you or what you'd like me to dive into next. Your input helps shape this podcast, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me ask you this. Is your intake process maximizing every opportunity? If not, I created the Intake Masterclass to help. Inside, you'll get access to the tools and strategies I've used to help firms transform their intake process and turn missed opportunities into measurable wins. Plus, you'll join a network of professionals all focused on growing their firms. The ROI you'll see from refining your intake will speak for itself. Visit intakeplaybook.com today and start making every lead count. Thank you again for spending your time with me on the Intake Playbook podcast. Remember, intake isn't just about systems. It's about building trust and creating connections. Keep pushing forward. And if you're looking for more resources or details from today's episode, check out the show notes at intakeplaybook.com. I'll see you there.